Stranger Things Season 4 is getting closer to its launch and its debut very soon, and we now have the episode titles that have been released. Last we saw the kids from Stranger Things. They had defeated the Upside Down once again, and we weren't sure if Hopper was dead or alive, and we weren't sure if Eleven had lost her powers. And on top of all that, the family had to decide to leave Hawkins, which has been their home their whole lives, and we don't know where they're going. We don't know where Will and his mom and Eleven are going to be living in Season 4. So a lot of unanswered questions at the end of Season 3 that are going to be answered as we get into Season 4, which is really exciting. The first episode of Stranger Things Season 4 will be entitled The Hellfire Club, and if that name sounds familiar, it's because it's from a comic book. The Hellfire Club is a group of X-Men villains in the comic books. The Hellfire Club is actually a comic creation from, you guessed it, the 1980s, the same decade that Stranger Things is set. The second episode of Season 4 of Stranger Things is entitled Tick-Tock, Mr. Clock, as confirmed on Twitter on October 12th, 2020. They've been doing a lot of promotional materials on Twitter showing a clock tower in the Upside Down, and just in general showing clocks in a lot of the promotional materials, which is suggestive that they are going to do something with time in this season. We don't know if it'll be time travel or what exactly they'll be doing, but clearly time is symbolized by all of the clocks that they are showing in the promotional materials. Time travel, of course, could make this season even more interesting because of the element of the Upside Down. The Upside Down is clearly another dimension, and if you add time travel with another dimension, things could get really complicated and really interesting. When you think about the show being set in the 1980s, what happens if they can travel into the past or travel into the future? And you add the Upside Down into that mix, and it could really get interesting. The third episode title that we know of for Stranger Things Season 4 is called You Snooze, You Lose, according to Twitter. When you think about where Hopper was at the end of Season 3, the term you snooze, you lose could definitely be applying to him and his situation. We don't know if he escaped into the Upside Down. It looked like he may have been held captive by the Russians. We don't know where he is or what happened to him, but we know he's in trouble. And so you snooze, you lose may have something to do with that. We also know that Eleven was losing her powers at the end of Season 3 and was having great difficulty using her powers, and she was getting weaker and weaker with time. So maybe the phrase you snooze, you lose has something to do with either the further weakening of her powers or the rebirth and re-strengthening of her powers. So the title for Episode 4 is a little bit up in the air. Let me explain. On Twitter, they said that Episode 4 would be titled Wakey Wakey Eggs and Bakey, but then they took it back and basically said that it was a joke. So we really don't know if that is the title to Episode 4 or just a hilarious prank on Twitter. We do know that Eleven loves her Eggo waffles and loves breakfast, so maybe it has something to do with that. And I mean, she really loves her Eggo waffles. Look at her striding out of there, stealing Eggos, while the manager helplessly looks on. Of course, he does try to stop her from stealing the Eggos, and we know what happens. She literally shatters the door to the grocery store on her way out. So we don't know any of the other episode titles at this point, and it's easy to understand why they're keeping it close to the vest, because in previous seasons, some of the episode titles were very specific, like the Battle of Starcourt Mall. So they're not going to release that ahead of time because it's going to give away too much of what could be happening in season 4. So we don't have any more episode titles other than the ones that have already been revealed. And again, that's probably to protect the secrets of the new season so that everyone can experience it together when the season is released. And of course, they were held back with the delays in production given the situation this year. We do know that Will, his mom, and Eleven left Hawkins, and that is certainly going to be a big change in season 4. We don't know where they're going to be living, and we don't know what is happening with Hopper, and whether Hopper is going to ever be reunited with Eleven, or if he could only see her in the Upside Down. We don't know what will happen with Eleven's powers, whether she'll get her powers back. So there's a lot of unanswered questions and very exciting stuff to look forward to in season 4 of Stranger Things.